Congrats. Sarah just hit huge accomplishment defying all odds and everyone missed it. In Washington, D.C., where careers can be as notoriously short-lived as the memories of some of the American people, or as long as those beltway lifers you are willing to climb into bed with, certain milestones stand out. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders reached a milestone few thought she would reach, and ironically enough was acknowledged by none other than a single lone reporter from the press pool themselves. With the usual standing room only in the White House briefing room, the 36-year-old mother of three presided as unruffled as always, over her 100th formal session before the shark-infested waters of the mainstream media propaganda mouthpieces and a handful of legitimate reporters. Jake Turx said, the senior White House correspondent for Me magazine, stated, "Thank you, Sarah. I would like to congratulate you. This is your 100th briefing, and there's no way what you do every day is easy." Sanders gave a gracious smile and then offered a small thank you to the reporter before allowing him to continue with a question. CBS News reports. She began with a few announcements, telling reporters that President Trump had been briefed earlier in the day by Homeland Security Secretary Nielsen on the looming threat to Hawaii of Hurricane Lane, now a Category 4 storm. It was her first briefing in a week and came a day after the convictions of former Trump associates Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen, the subject that dominated questions from reporters. She was prepared, and responded by saying again and again that the president has done nothing wrong and there are no charges against him. Other questions on the subject that she was not prepared to answer, and she referred reporters to the president's outside counsel. It was the usual level of toughness as her briefings go, not that any of her briefings are tiptoes through the tulips. It depends on the day, she said in an interview Tuesday when asked if she has come to view her press briefings as an unpleasant chore or with dread. Her answer is the same when asked if the press briefing is the best or worst part of her day. But there are clear indications she prefers fewer and shorter briefings since conducting her first one as White House press secretary on July 26 of last year. First, Sanders held 2 to 4 briefings a week, averaging 24 minutes in length. In recent weeks, the frequency has diminished to 1 or 2 a week, averaging 19 minutes in duration. Her 99th White House briefing was Wednesday of last week. Her predecessor, Sean Spicer, conducted 58 formal White House briefings during his 6 months as press secretary. They averaged 41 minutes in length. "We get information out in a number of different ways," says Sanders, defending the diminished frequency of her briefings. She cites social media, which includes frequent avalanches of tweets by President Trump. "We also have a president who's extremely accessible and engages with the press a lot more. He's certainly accessible to Fox News, who Wednesday has its 30th interview with Mr. Trump since he took office, many times more than any other news organization." Of the adversarial and sometimes combative tone of some exchanges at her briefings, Sanders says it certainly has its moments. "My job is to answer whatever the questions are, though reporters are often dissatisfied with her responses. It is balanced out by her dissatisfaction with the gotcha and occasionally accusatory questions she faces. My goal is to go out there and do the best I can to represent the president and to communicate his message and his policies," she says about her objective in the briefing room. She says some reporters are doing more to perform and get a clip for a news segment than they are to actually get information. She mentions no names. "I think if we could focus on pushing out information, versus just trying to have either a gotcha moment or a heated exchange they could play on their nightly news, I think everybody would be better served." At the same time, Sanders says her criticism does not apply to all reporters at her briefings. She volunteers that some are working hard to just get information so that they can report on it. But she's quick to add, that there are certainly some I think are a little too focused on the wrong things. She says Mr. Trump sometimes watches her briefings, if he has a chance but does not watch every time. Sanders has certainly proven herself an asset to the Trump administration and to President Trump himself, stating in a recent interview of her position as press secretary, "I certainly hope that as long as I can continue to be productive and helpful to the president, he will keep me around. I consider every single day that I am here to be a privilege and I will keep showing up every day and work hard."